But yeah, I was like, oh my god, this is like something I've known my whole life, kind of, when he showed me. Like, maybe one day I can get into some liquid drum and bass, but no, so many times that I almost quit. Even now, even this week, I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this.
Today we've got Sivz. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show, Sivz.
Thanks.
Awesome. So, am I going to start off with some questions then, Brad?
Yeah,
I guess I am.
Mate, yeah.
Fucking right. So basically, we'll start at the beginning of the show like we normally do. How about, Sivz, you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, did you grow up in Vancouver, sort of bit of your background about yourself.
Okay. Kind of have a bit of a long background story. So I didn't grow up in Vancouver. My mom's British, my dad's Armenian. I was born and raised in Jordan in the Middle East, and I moved here when I was 18 to go to UBC, and I've been here ever since.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And is any of your family here? Or
No, none of my family's here. My brother and sister in Dubai, my mom's in Cyprus, my dad's in Jordan, and it's just me here.
Crazy.
And I love it, yeah.
So at 18 years old, you moved across the world and went to
literally
university.
across the world, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know, we just got stuck there all of a sudden. I don't know.
No.
That's never happened before.
Luckily we can edit.
So,
yeah, totally.
No, we can edit. I'll just leave it. It's great. So, you went to UBC.
Yeah.
What was the first sort of instrument you've ever got into? How did you get into music when you came? Was it from your Armenian background or from your mother's side? What sort of music got you going into your electronic journey?
So I think, like, from the very beginning, what got me so into music were the Disney movies I watched growing up, specifically The Lion King.
I shouldn't laugh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. Like, the music is so good in Disney movies.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, so when I was like 5 years old, I'd watch The Lion King for the music and the songs and sing along, and then when it would, like, finish, I'd, like, put the tape back in and play it again, and I just did that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then learned, like, different instruments in school. I played, like, piano, drums, guitar. In high school, I would sing and, like, write my own lyrics. I had a little band that would practice in my basement, and we only ever played, like, one show. But, yeah, I mean, I pretty much had a good foundation in it. I think guitar was my favorite, and drums, too. Didn't love the piano.
Really? I'm surprised, actually. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay.
Piano's one of the ones for me. Like, I've never learned it, and I really would love to learn it.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
It's very classy. But I think I didn't like it because I was forced to learn how to play it.
I think I've spoke to so many of my friends back in the day that were forced to play it, and they hated it because of that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, like, guitar and drums I picked up on my own. I was like, oh, I want to learn this. And I loved it. But piano was, like, that one thing I would dread. Like, oh, I've got my piano lesson, great. And my teacher would always try and make me, like, count beats out loud. And I would be like, I know how to count a beat. Like, I was just, like, so, like, not loving the lessons. But, I mean, I'm glad I had that foundation. But, like, you know, I can play the same songs over and over again now. But
And so then the little band you had with your friends and stuff, what kind of music did you play?
Covers of, like, Green Day and
Yeah.
I don't know, I was into, like, punk and alternative back then.
Yeah.
I'd play, like, lead guitar and sing, like, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Nice.
Good band, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
So from that then,
yeah,
what kind of interested you or got you interested in the electronic side of music?
I think just naturally the music I was listening to, I'd discover, like, podcasts and mixes and stuff, and I think it was, like, around the time I discovered Deadmau5 that I was listening to more, like, electronic music and discovering house music. So I was always listening to stuff and, like, just expanding. And basically, like, I think I wanted to go to school for music, and then I ended up going to school for business, and I didn't touch music at all after that. Like, in university, no guitar, piano, drums, nothing. I would listen to a lot of music, go out a lot, go out dancing. I just, like, loved club environments and just being out with people and singing and, you know, like, even I lived in Kelowna for a while, and I'd go out and, like, they'd be playing, like, Rihanna, and I'd be like, oh my God, it's my song. Like, I was just always into it. And eventually I graduated and I would just go out a lot because I was just like a party girl, club girl, just loved being out. And I went out so much and I'd bring like 30 friends with me to the club every Saturday that I discovered that you could be a promoter. Like, I didn't know this was a job. I didn't know this was like a thing people did.
Yeah.
So the clubs were like, hey, like, why don't you like work for us? We'll pay you like whatever per head that you bring. So by just going to the club all the time, I started to be surrounded by DJs, the local DJs, like kind of like stand on the sideline, like watch them spin. No idea what was going on at all. But I just got so into house music then, because I go to a club called Ginger 62 here, and then Gorg-O-Mish after hours like every single Saturday night. And yeah, eventually I just met like local DJs, and one of them was like, do you want me to show you how to do this? And
cool.
I did my first lesson with him, and I was like, oh, that's it. That was it.
Totally addicted straight off the bat.
Yeah, it just made sense. Like, I would always kind of hear the next track the DJ was cueing in before anyone else on the dance floor, so I had the ear for it. But yeah, I was like, oh my God, this is like something I've known my whole life, kind of, when he showed me.
Yeah, just clicked straight away, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And so you said it was Ginger 69?
62.
62.
So where's that? Is that still here now?
No, it's not around anymore.
I was going to say, I've not even heard of that one.
No.
Yeah, it closed before I started to DJ, so just before I started playing, it ended up now it's 12 West, that same space.
Okay.
It's like a hip hop club. Yeah, I haven't set foot in there since it stopped being Ginger.
Was it a good club though? Like good
it
sound
was amazing.
System?
Yeah. There was like lots of like lounge areas you could sit in, like a good dance floor, 2 bars. Like it was all like red lighting, and like the decor was so nice. And I haven't seen Vancouver have anything even close to it since it closed, but it brought a lot of us together. Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
What was your first club that you DJ'd then? So going from the promoter side of it, and then you were obviously introduced into the DJ. How did you approach to get your first sort of DJ gig or your first club that you played at?
So I was like, practicing at home, just DJing on my own, and my friends would throw this like house party once in a while, and DJs would play. And a friend of mine convinced me to play one, and I was too nervous to do it. And he's like, oh, you've got it. You should do it. So I played my first house party. Yeah. And then people just started to hear that I was DJing because I knew everybody in Vancouver already from promoting and being out. It was really easy for me to get gigs. So the first club gig I had was playing the side room of Fortune Sound Club. I forget what the room's called now. It has this special name. It's like a tiny little room, so I played there and did a great job. And then it was like every gig leads to another gig. So the next one I think was 560, and it just kept going from there.
And when was that? What kind of year was that when you first played out there?
Oh, let me think. 2013, 14.
Oh wow, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, time flies.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how was it for your first one then? How big was the crowd? Was it kind of like nervous, or was you like, oh, I've got this, I've got this in the bag? Like
bit of both.
Yeah, like reading the crowd for the first time?
Yeah, I don't know. I was nervous, but everyone there was like my friends.
Yeah.
It was just like easy to pack the room because everyone wanted to come see me play, and I knew what I was going to play. And yeah, that one felt good. It felt really good to be like, oh my God, it's my first gig.
Yeah.
I don't think I was crying in the bathroom before or anything like that. It was like, it was fine.
Like I'm looking in the mirror.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah.
Cool. So what's your music that you was playing back then? How is it different to the music that you play now?
It was a little more poppy, like very vocal housey. I was really into G house at the time.
Oh, that's like Anime and Edge and dance.
Yeah, like the old Anime Edge and dance. Like now they're pretty techy, and like I haven't loved some sets of theirs that I've gone to, but I don't know. It was like kind of like jacking bass lines, always like a rap vocal, and I was like, oh my God, this is my thing. This is my thing. Yeah. And over time, G house changed into bass house. Like now if you say G house, it's actually really bass housey, and I don't like where it went.
So coming from garage music, coming from garage music, bass house, and yeah. I remember when G house was a thing. I was like, what the hell is this? And then it was all like, Is it EDM DJ called Charmy or Tarmy?
Chami,
I think it is.
Chami.
TCHAMI.
Yeah, Chami. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Chami.
was like doing the.
He was
He was on Fool's Gold label and they were playing some of his music in G House sets.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Yeah.
Because I was in Lightbox Ministry and they were playing like G House. I was like, what is this stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then they obviously went to Bass House.
Yeah. Like, I
Garage.
feel like I just missed the wave. Like,
Yeah.
I caught on and it was already becoming Bass House.
Yeah.
And now I just don't like Bass House. Like, it's just like not, it's like where I draw the line. Like, I like all house music up to Bass House. So,
Yeah.
like, when it took that turn, I found myself, like, going more into tech house.
Yeah.
And there's so much tech house. There's, like, the minimal, like, groovy, tribal-y stuff. There's, like, the, you know, Fisher stuff. There's so much within tech house. So it's
Yeah.
constantly changing for me, too.
Who would you say your favourite, if you say tech house, deep house, who would your favourite artist be that you would say, oh, I really like their music, I'd play their music, or just sort of you would sort of look up to as a sort of
Yeah, I
inspiration
think my
figures?
number one right now, it always changes over the years, but my number
Yeah.
one is John Summit. And he's been like doing all these mixes and flips of tracks that I used to love and listen to, like back when I was listening to all those like podcasts and mixes. And he's got like a rolling bass line, like low end, like just really deep bass lines, and then soulful vocals and like really great percussion. I'm actually opening for him in January. Hopefully the show goes through with COVID life, but
We'll ask you about that later. But
yeah, I just got it re-announced today. But yeah, like he's my favorite, and like kind of the stuff I've been working on recently is kind of falls into that sound. Like I get a lot of inspiration from him right now.
Okay.
When you're playing out though, you kind of know him for being able to play slightly different styles. Like you don't always just stick to house, do you? Like you accommodate the crowd depending on where you're playing, or do you pretty much like to stick to what your style is at the time?
So, I mean, I would open for a different DJ like through my residencies all the time, and they all play different sounds, so I would cater my set to them.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm never going to play like a whole bunch of different genres. It's always going to be house or techno.
House and
like
techno.
That's it.
Yep.
House and techno, that's it. Like maybe one day I can get into some liquid drum and bass, but like I'm never going to be the open format DJ that just plays everything, because I just don't listen to everything or like everything. I'm very picky. But I can play very different sets within house and techno. Like if I'm playing like Gorg-O-Mish After Hours, we have like a 3-hour set, so it's like a gradual build, and I might play like light techie stuff and then like go hard techno.
Absolutely.
If I'm playing like a boat party, it's like maybe more uplifting, happy vibes,
summery vibe kind of thing.
Yeah, I can I really do enjoy the process of like putting a set together and like over preparing my playlist and imagining it.
Do you spend a lot of time prepping?
So much time.
Yeah,
almost too much. Or like I used to spend a lot of time. Now I'm more comfortable and I let it just be, but I used to be like,
do you ever so I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you ever kind of wing it every now and again if you feel like you almost
so
have
depending
on the crowd, right?
Depending on the show, like if it's a kind of like whatever local show and all my friends are playing, like I'll just like show up with whatever new music I have or recycle old stuff, and I have no idea what I'm gonna do. If it's a festival performance, like a big one, like Shambhala or Bass Coast or something, I put a lot into it. If it's opening for someone, so like I'll be opening for John Summit, I'll want to play like him enough that the handoff goes like smoothly, but also not so much like him that it's too the same, and I end up playing all the tracks he wants to play. So it's
so you got your twist on it.
Yeah, definitely. I miss it though. I really miss like having a different set to prepare every weekend.
For sure.
The past couple of years have been painful.
Yeah. So how did you go? So you obviously played your first couple of gigs in Vancouver. Did you have to make any sort of mix CDs or to approach people and be like, hey, this is what I play, I'd love to play your club? Did you have to approach promoters to get further gigs, or did it all just come from that first gig?
I think my network was very strong as is, just from being a promoter and being out and supporting people.
Yeah.
And I recorded any of the sets I would play, like that house party set, or if I played a set, I'd like go home and like recreate it, re-record it. I did start a mix series, and it's gone through different names and evolutions and stuff. But like I was making a lot of mixes and lots of different sounds too.
Yeah.
Like one would be a really dreamy, slow one would be a party one. So like it's like building a portfolio.
Yeah.
Although I feel like mixes aren't as popular right now. Everything moved to Spotify. It's like Spotify playlists and more like bite-sized stuff that people are consuming.
Do you do the Spotify playlist thing?
I do have a Spotify playlist, yeah, but it's not the same as putting together a mix. Like
not
I want to
thing.
restart my mix series again in the new year. I want to think of a different concept for it, maybe.
Yeah.
But I just love putting together a mix.
Yeah. So if you obviously we mentioned Bass Coast, we've mentioned Shambhala. What would be your best gig that you've ever done? Like your most favourite one that you've enjoyed the most, if there is one, or is there many? Or
There's so many.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while, it's hard to remember. But I think Bass Coast, I played 1 year, and I played like the Thursday, the opening party, and it was good. And then the second year, I got invited back to play right before Claude Von Stroke. It was like 4 p.m. on a Saturday. He's like one of the headliners, and
is that Dirty Bird?
Yeah,
Yes,
Dirty Bird guy. Yeah. So it was great because I love daytime sets at festivals, especially if there's like a good dance floor, and like it was packed, and it was like sunny, and I was playing right before who was back then like one of my favorites, and it was great because I don't know, it was just like a dream come true, like playing that stage to that people, that slot. And even people that weren't dancing complimented me for my set after. They were like, oh, I was swimming in the river and it was the best set I heard all weekend. Like, I wasn't there, but I was there.
Yeah.
And probably one of the most memorable, I think.
What kind of music is Bass Coast? Is it just a mixture of things? Because it's quite an artsy kind of thing, right? It's kind of it's in the sticks or in the woods. Yeah. And it's kind of, I've never been.
You'd love Bass Coast.
Been.
Yeah, it's a bit of everything. There's house, there's techno, there's drum and bass, there's bass, there's grime.
There's grime?
Yeah.
UK rap grime?
Yeah.
Really?
Actually, speaking of sets where you're not there, but you're there.
Yeah.
I think the year before, I went to my tent and I was done for the night, and I was like, I'm absolutely done. And my tent was close to like the main stage, and somebody went on and played this grime set, and I'd never heard anything like this before. Yeah. And I spent the whole time like in my tent be like, no, you're done. No, you should go. No, you're done. You should go. And I really enjoyed his whole set, and I can't think of the name of the artist right now. Bevy Swift. Bevy Swift. He played an amazing grime set, and like that's why I like Bass Coast too. You discover sounds and artists you've never heard of before. But yeah, there's a bit of everything.
I'm always intrigued to know like how UK sort of music does go over here, like the UK grime, drum and bass. How does the drum and bass go?
There's a good drum and bass following here.
It is, yeah. Did it go well at Bass Coast? Is it quite a big sort of thing here? Like
it is. It is. I mean, I haven't been to many drum and bass shows, but I know that there's a scene for it.
Wow,
like I know that there's friends that like go to those shows and find them and play that music, and I'm usually like I stick in the house and techno side of things, but there's definitely a lot of love for drum and bass. Yeah, I like it too. I like liquid drum and bass. It's like not too heavy.
Not too heavy. No, I grew up on the jump up, so it's very like bum, 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 super like not so mellow, but it's really like jumping up and down kind of stuff. So it's kind of yeah. Well, so with regards to Shambhala, then did you say you played there?
So I got booked to play there finally, and then COVID happened. So what they did last summer to like work with restrictions was open one stage at a time. So they did like I was booked at the amp stage, and there was like 3,000 or 4,000 people there. One night, one stage.
Really?
So I did get to like play like with the festival, but not the official full-size festival yet. But that was a big gig for me because I got like the closing slot, and it was busy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
good.
Good
And people were
vibe, lots
so
of
ready
people.
to party.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure. Everyone's
Yeah.
been locked up for a while by then.
What wasn't Shambhala dubstep like originally?
There's a lot of also everything.
Yeah.
Little bassier, I think. Like even the house music there. I don't want to say this because it's not really correct. Like the living room stage has more like minimal groovy stuff. They had like Mark Farina.
Yeah.
And then the pagoda stage, which is where I used to go for all the house music, now I find is a little more bass house.
Yeah.
But they also booked Test Pilot, who's like Deadmau5's techno alias for the festival that got cancelled. So there's a range. There's a lot of funk, like the Fractal Forest is all like funky music, and there's a bit of everything. I'd like to see more techno there though.
You would, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I always known as Shambhala as the dubstep area of Canada. Because dubstep came in the UK for like, I think like a year.
Yeah.
And it didn't really hit off. And then when I came to Canada, I was like, be ready to love dubstep.
There is definitely, there is a
Yeah.
lot of dubstep, but I don't like dubstep.
No.
So I never go to the stage that has it. I'm like, I'm going to be on the other side of the festival. Like,
Yeah.
I can't get down with it, but I find what I like.
So what's your favourite club in Vancouver then? Like, if would it be to attend, to DJ, to just for a certain event? Like, what would be your favourite go-to?
Well, the favorite
club?
ever was Ginger 62.
Yeah.
Nothing has come close.
Yeah.
It's hard to know what's still around and what's going to come
What's
next.
made,
Yeah.
what's made it
But
through.
what's made it or will make it through is Gorg-O-Mish After Hours, where I have one of my residencies.
Yeah.
And it's a great place to party, but the best place in the city to play, I think. Like the setup and the monitors,
The
like
sound system's
the
amazing,
sound
isn't it?
system is
Oh,
so
the sound
like you
system's
don't
sick,
even need
right?
headphones. Like you feel like you're like driving a spaceship. The crowd
Yeah.
loves everything. You can mix in anything. Like you can really program your set because you get 3 hours. Like most places you get an hour and you just get into it and then your
And you're
set's
done.
over, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Yeah. So I love playing at Gorg-O-Mish because like you can just go off on a tangent and people like love it.
Me and Craig said this quite a few times. When you go in a good sound system, you come out with no like ringing in your ears.
Yeah.
And we went in there, didn't we? And it just came out, no ringing. It was just like perfect.
Yeah.
I like
it's not
that
even
sound
fully
system.
running.
Yeah.
I was like, what? This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good sound.
Yeah.
isn't it,
Yeah,
for
good
sure.
sound makes a difference. It's so like empowering playing on that system. It's just
Yeah.
It makes a difference when you play on something that sounds good.
yeah.
Right? Absolutely.
So what artists have you supported then? So you obviously said, Claude Von Stroke. Was there other artists? Because obviously me and Craig done a bit of research on what you've done. And obviously you've supported Green Velvet. Obviously he's huge.
Yeah.
Chris Lake and
Chris
people like that. How is it like? And Will Taylor? No, Will Clark.
Yeah. Will Clark
Will
too.
Clark.
Yeah.
How did it go, or how did it feel supporting them, meeting them? Like, did they give you advice on?
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like I would go out and see, like I'm a huge music festival chaser. Like I'll go all over the world just to go to music festivals and see the artists that I love. And it's great when you meet them. And then when you suddenly like kill it on a local level and like you're the person that gets to open.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened so many times. It's like, oh my God, I love you. And yeah, some people are really nice and really sweet. Some others are like, they say never meet your idols, right?
Yeah.
Some are you're like, I was so stoked to open for you, and you're kind of boring, or like I don't know.
Or rude.
Yeah, rude. Yeah, I haven't had too many rude ones,
But it
luckily.
happens, right?
But yeah, it's crazy. It's really surreal. I feel like I've gotten used to it now. Almost, it's just like no biggie. But like when you're first starting and you get to see your name on the poster, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, like the one that hits home for me is Mark Knight, because Mark Knight's from my neck of the woods.
Oh yeah, Mark Knight is a good one. Yeah,
his studio's in Maidstone, so Maidstone is not far from me. He's got it there, and that's where Nick Van Truly is from.
Yeah.
And so that's where all them boys are from. So
yeah,
the fact you've supported
it's funny
Mark
that you just
Knight,
I forgot about forget that happened. There's so many
like
of them.
Mark
Knight was a good
huge
one. Yeah, it was at Celebrities Underground.
Yeah.
So it was like, it's all concrete walls and
The tour room
sweat
guru.
on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I really like that. with regards to Croatia as well, you've played a lot in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Whereabouts have you played abroad?
Just Croatia so far. A little bit in the States, in Vegas. But Croatia was the first, like, international one, I guess, this past summer. So I went as part of Yacht Week. It's like a kind of a festival, but it like restarts every week. It's like a whole season there.
Okay.
And they have resident DJs that play like the whole week. So you play like 6 or 7 days in a row, different venues. And yeah, that was an unreal experience.
For the same promoter, or you'll
same promoter.
Okay.
Well, it's different clubs and venues, but
the same.
Everyone that comes to the show are people who've booked yachts and are like there for the festival. So it's the same crowd.
Wow.
So yeah, you can kind of win them over the week.
Yeah. You're either gonna love me or hate me.
Yeah,
You got a week.
Yeah, I had a mix, you know. I had some like diehard fans, and I had people that are like, "Can you play music with words in it?" And I'm like, literally every track has vocals in it, but I think you want hip hop.
Yeah,
And
like rapping, you mean that kind of words, right?
Oh, the whole request thing, you know, like when you're playing and you get a guy who goes, "Can you play
Drake?
this song?"
Drake is the number one requested thing I get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One guy said to me, "Have you got any Kanye?" And I was like, "What?
What are you doing
you're
here?
You're in a club that plays house music."
Yeah.
Let's go down to the commercial one down the road.
I get Drake a lot at Gorg-O-Mish and celebrities, because now I'm playing the Celebs Lounge, so people just book a table and go hang out. And
Gorg-O-Mish, eh?
Oh yeah, at Gorg-O-Mish.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. And I was
That's
like,
like
are
the
you like
underground,
the thing
yeah.
is I would actually play a dope Drake edit or remix or bootleg.
yeah.
Like, find me a techno Drake, like I'll play it. Like I don't have any problem, but I do not have original Drake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should, just to like
I'll make
have it.
Yeah, play it.
How did the trip to Croatia come about? Like, they approach you, or?
So it was through a connection. So my friend Aaron, who's also a DJ, who goes by Avram, was connected there. I think he'd been going to Yacht Week or Croatia like year after year. He got hired as the DJ manager / host, who like takes care of the DJs, gets them from A to B, like make sure they're paid and all this stuff. And through him, he mentioned that they had some weeks to fill. They needed some residents for, and he recommended me to the entertainment manager of the like whole company. They're called Day 8. So Day 8 owns or manages the Yacht Week. And yeah, we just had like an interview call and like sent in my press kit, some mixes and stuff. And you have to be able to play different sounds that week. So they have like a disco night.
Okay.
He's like, yeah, you're great at tech house, but can you do disco? And I'm like, yeah, like I could do disco. So yeah, he just liked what he heard. And
Awesome.
I was already going to be in Croatia to go to Defected. So it kind of just worked out that I was like, well, I'm going to be in Croatia. Like, I'll come back for Yacht Week at the end of the month, and I'll do some traveling in between. And yeah, it's pretty much how it happened.
And again, you just mentioned Defective, so how did that one come about?
So I didn't play Defected. I just raved.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always wanted to go to that festival.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was one of the best.
Yeah.
It was just the setting, like you start
Quite a
the
special
day.
festival, yeah.
Yeah, like you start your day like on a boat party. It takes you out for 4 hours. You come back, the day party started. People are just like lounging and they're like blow up flamingos on the beach, and you know it's just happy house music. It's just that like feel good, and there's lots of disco too. And then the night party, just tech house. You know, it's.
Who did you see play there?
So many people. Oh my god, I have to like try and remember who. Gorgon City, John Summit, Sam Divine, Ferric Dawn, the whole glitter box. Do you know the glitter box parties?
Glitter box party,
They
yeah.
have
Yeah.
so they
Glitter
have
box,
like
yeah.
stage takeovers. Yeah, lots of. I mean, there were people I didn't know and just discovered while I was there.
Yeah.
Friends were like, "We have to go see this DJ." I'm like, "I don't know who this is," and they're like, "Oh, this is great."
I suppose it's good to obviously discover new DJs as well, right?
Yeah. And then it's always like my favorite set like wouldn't be the headliner or who you'd think it would be.
No.
Like it's someone I discovered and I was like, that was the best set of the weekend, and someone I didn't know or wasn't planning on seeing.
Yeah.
or like someone who just like really impressed me, like an early set, like 6 p.m., you know, I'm like, this is the one. Yeah.
So, sometimes they do. Sometimes like the warm-up sets, you're just like, man, this person's absolutely rocked it.
Yeah.
You know? Like, got it going really, really well. And
yeah.
sometimes I think they're better than the actual headline.
Oh, they usually are.
Yeah, like you think.
They usually are.
Yeah. So, a little bit about music production. How did you first sort of get into music production? Obviously, did it start when you got into DJing, or did it?
I actually wish I did it the other way around, or that I started production before DJing. But basically, I started to like hit a wall with DJing, and like I wanted to do it full time and like travel like internationally, and like really to do that you need to be producing, is what I've been told. I mean, some DJs just DJ, but like
it's kind of the thing now, right?
Yeah. So it was for me like a means to an end. I'm like, how do I do this outside of Vancouver all the time? And like, oh, you got to produce. I'm like, okay. So it didn't come along smoothly. Like I had like someone teach me on Cubase, and I hated it. Like just didn't like it. Like slow computer, didn't understand the program. Like was trying to learn, but it's just so much. Like the learning curve is so steep that it wasn't connecting with me for so long. Eventually, I decided to switch to Ableton. I did like an online course, like intro to Ableton. And I was like, this program works better for me. And from there, like, you know, so many times that I almost quit. Even now, even this week, I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this.
Yeah.
But somehow I just kept at it, and every time I got stuck, I did a new program or course or boot camp, or like sat down with friends, or I don't know. I've done so many like just different courses.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been producing for like 4 years now. I'm not sure exactly how long, but like only now is it kind of starting to click, and like only now can I like finish tracks completely on my own without like going to get help. And I still do sometimes like I don't know how to do this or that.
Yeah.
But it's been a grind. It's tough.
Yeah. I think it's good that you admit that, because obviously a lot of producers, their ego gets in the way, and they don't end up, you know, finishing a lot of tracks. They end up having like quite a few and they're unfinished, right? And they don't want to get help. So it's good that you admit that, because I go to do a track, I'm like, shit, I don't know how to do it, and I go straight to YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, but what courses are here that would teach that sort of thing in Vancouver? Because I know the one in the UK is called Point Blank Academy. Okay. And they do Ableton and things like that. What's the sort of
in Vancouver? It's not really Vancouver specific. So I did one called Cosmic Academy. They're based in Miami. It's all online. Okay. And it was like a boot camp that was like part production, like getting right into it, like long classes. The classes would go for like 6 hours. And the other half of it was like your branding, how to sign demos, read contracts, like music business stuff. And that was helpful. Then I did, my favorite label is Repopulate Mars. It's Lee Foss's label. And last winter, I did their course. And yeah, all online too. And then I think what helped me the most is like when the pandemic happened. So many like touring DJs, producers that I looked up to were out of work. So they started teaching. One guy I look up to called West End started doing one-on-one lessons, and my problem is I could get a track 80% of the way there and not know how to finish it, and like just not know how to fix my mix, not know how to like just like I know it's not done and I know I can't call it here. So how do I get that last 20%? So I did lessons with him one-on-one just over Zoom, and I learned so much through him because I just bring him a track. I'm like, this is where it's at. Like, what do I do here? So he helped me like figure out that last 20% and figure out the same mistakes I was making and what I needed to improve on. He was a really good teacher. And now he's back to touring, but he started his own community called Kick and Bass, and it's like a Discord community, and he's still uploading tutorials. There's like remix competitions on it. There's like prizes, like there's all these tips and tricks, and I'm still learning through him now, but he does it not one-on-one anymore. It's like to a wider audience, but it's the same teachings in the same way that he works. And you can send him tracks for feedback like once a month or twice a month or something. So yeah, I'll work on something, send it to him, and like I trust his ears that, you know, I don't know, just his whole program and how he teaches really helped me.
So with when you say like the 80%, then you mean so the last 20% is like basically the mix down, or is that like
or something that's not working
things
and
that's not missing, or the automation?
Like, for me, I struggle the most with leads, like finding like those little ear candy or like the short 2 notes
like
here. What do
fillers.
I put here?
Like
or it drops and it's a bit empty. Like, what can I put here?
Yeah.
I struggle a lot with melody and leads. Sometimes it's like warping vocals or like treating vocals, processing them. I'm like, I don't know what to do. It's like pretty dry, or this isn't sitting right. Like, like I did a session with another producer called Return of the Jaded, and he's on a bunch of great labels. And I'll just be like, this is my one problem. Like, can we do a session on this? And he'll help me figure that out. There's just like these like gaps in skills where I know what I want to do, but I don't know how to do it. Yeah. So like just taking a track to someone who knows what they're doing. And
I think for me the one-on-one would be the way I would need to learn myself.
Yeah.
Courses are one thing, but when you got someone who's good and you can like relate to, that one-on-one would definitely be. Yeah.
That's what changed things for me, that those one-on-ones with West End. Because, like, you can go watch a tutorial, but it's not the same as applying it to your specific problem in your specific project. And be like, how do I fix this?
How do I actually do this
now?
Yeah.
Especially as someone that uses the same software as well. Like, I mean, I think a lot of people struggle from producer block. Their mind just goes blank. And they're just like, I do not know what to do. Like... And that's where you got to take yourself away. There's actually a book that I've read. Do you know DJ Rebecca?
No, I don't.
She's like a high techno DJ. She's in Berlin. She's from Birmingham. But she says, these books, read these about producer block. So, is there any sort of recommendations or advice you would give to someone who is a producer where you've done that? Because everyone's different. Your advice might help someone.
Like when you're blocked, when you have like writer's block,
when you're struggling with something.
Like me this week.
Like we briefly discussed. Like 3 hours on the kick, and
I'm dealing with that right now, and I was dealing with it last week too, where I was like, I was just like, it's not happening, and I think taking breaks are key, but doing something productive with that break too, so you can use that time to like organize your samples, or you can like collect reference tracks that you like, so you know what to go back to for the next session. Or like I think last week I wasn't feeling it, and I was like, I still want to use this time to be doing something for production, so I watched tutorials. So I watched a tutorial of how West End like took any track and like started a bootleg, and that gave me an idea for a bootleg, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go in, not have pressure on like this needs to be a hit, but I'm just gonna try and apply what I just learned in that tutorial just as practice. And then that kind of got me like excited again about something. Like, even if I don't even finish that bootleg, it was just like, okay, I'll use this time to learn something. So stay tuned, because I'll figure out how next week goes, if this helps, if my advice works.
Talking about the tracks and that, so have you done many collabs and remixes with other people? I know
I've done a bunch of remixes. Right? Yeah, I'm trying to open up more to doing collabs, because I'm very like, I like things done my way, and like in my experience I've tried to collab with people and the track takes a direction that I don't really love and don't really want to put my name on it. It's not really my sound, and then you're just kind of people pleasing and being nice. So I'm trying to be more selective with who I do collab with, like someone who's making like stuff that I really like, that I think, it's gonna work. So I think next week there's this DJ duo called Keepsix that are kind of coming up in Tech House, and we used to DJ together all the time at like MIA.
Based in Vancouver?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And they rent the same studio space that I do. And, like people were saying like collab all the time, like, oh, should we collab? And I was like, no, these guys, I actually think we can make something. So I think next week we're going to get together. But
nice.
Yeah, remixes I've done a lot of, because especially starting out like with production, like you're given all these parts, so you don't have to spend so much time figuring out the parts. You just need to know like, oh, I'm just gonna take the vocal. I don't like that lead. I'll put in a different bass line. It's like it's easier. So I did a lot of remixes like last year or the year before, and then this year I was like, I want to focus more on originals.
Did you start off remixing then? Was that like your first? Like, because a lot of people start in remixing, didn't they, to get into making music? Was that kind of your first part, or did you? Just
I released. I think my first track was an original, and the second track was an original, and then I got a lot of remix requests, and I was like, okay, I'll do this for a while. And now I'm focused on originals again, but like I'm also pickier with remixes, so if someone's like, hey, can you remix something? I'll be like, send me the stems. If I love something in it, I'll do it. And if it doesn't do it for me, I won't.
Yeah.
So I met this vocalist when I did the Repopulate Mars course, and she sent me a track that was like almost like world music, like really interesting, but the vocal on it was like she's like, she was like, hey, can you make like a tech house remix of this? And I listened to it and I was like, oh, and I knew instantly what I was going to do with it. I was like, oh, I know it's going to be a deep track. It's going to be this. It's going to be really minimal. It's going to be like bass line, vocal, percussion. Cool, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But then I got like another remix request a little while ago, and I don't know, there was nothing that really like, did it for me. Like nothing hooked me in where I was like, oh, I have an idea. So I was like, I'll pass, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with your first track that you made, the original, how was it playing out for the first time to the crowd? So you've got your track. It's all mixed down. It's ready to go. It's masters, and you're like, okay, I've got my gig.
I played it out kind of prematurely when it wasn't like fully done. So
okay.
I played it out, and it was like a self master, kind of not totally finished, and it felt great to play it out. But then I went back and did so much more work on it by the time like the actual one came out, it wasn't the first time I was playing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think I dropped it, like one of the versions, for the first time playing a New Year's gig.
Okay.
And there was like a video of it, and like I was just like dead proud, you know.
Were you like nervous, or was it just like, whoa? I can imagine you going to the CJ, you're like, oh, there's my track.
I was excited. I was excited for that. I get more nervous now that I know more about production, like because it was my first one. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna play my track. Now, because I know so much more, when I go to play a track, I'm like, oh, you know, like the low end's off and like this and that, or like, oh, that's not coming through. Like I'm way more like analytical about it. Like the more you produce, the more like you just get in your head about how it sounds on the floor.
Yeah.
So
starting the track then, where would you start from the beginning of starting a track? Like what would you start? Would it be the kick? Would it be the vocal? Would you work your track around a vocal, or would it be around the kick, or would it be around the lead? Like where would you start?
Good question. I was trying to figure that out today. It's never the same. So for example, with that remix, it was built around the vocal. I was like, okay, like here's the vocal, I know what the key is in, I know I want it to be really minimal. So like I have like pretty good library of kicks that I've like used in other projects, so I'll just like drag one in, and it's usually sits pretty well. And then I just try and nail like, you know, the kick, bass line, and drums, and then I fluff it up with percussion, like so much percussion in my tracks. And other tracks, like usually I don't write ever without having a reference, because I find I just go off on a tangent and then I don't know where I'm going to sign the track. So I'll like throw in something that I really like usually John Summit lately, and just analyze the hell out of it, like to a T, like okay, like what's going on with their drums? Oh, they have a hit here. Oh, okay, like there's more shakers happening, like making sure my isn't so bare. And I struggle the most with bass lines. That takes me like so long, but then when I find one, from there it's like all just the little fills and stuff that I love doing the most. Like I love just cutting up percussion, and it's like a jigsaw.
I think sometimes, a lot of the time, people find that the stuff that they make on the spur of the moment is the best.
It's the best.
Yeah, and the stuff that they focus on a long time is not really.
Yeah.
So the spur of the moment stuff is like, fucking, that's banging.
Yeah, like
I love that,
one of my tracks came together so fast. It's called Better on My Own. It's not out yet. And I wish every writing session went like that. It was just like, oh, boom, here we go. Like it was, and now I'm trying to like get back to that where I just have like a session that goes so smoothly, and it's not coming along. But they don't always go smoothly. Like today I was trying so hard to like, I just kept taking a track in 1,000 other directions, and I couldn't commit to something. Like I had these like dreamy vocals, and I'm like, oh, okay, it could be like this slow rolling bass line, and then I'd like try another bass line. I'm like, oh, this is like jacking now. Oh, okay, like maybe we do this, and I'm like, no, but this fits the vocals better. Like the whole session just going from A to B to C, and then not deciding on anything at the end.
Yeah. Would you say writing your music reflects on the kind of mood that you're in on that day?
Not really, because every session like just goes so differently. I don't think that like if I'm in a great mood I'm gonna have a great session necessarily. It's just like how organized I am in my head. Because I just waste a lot of time. But like if I force myself to commit to a decision, or like time myself, have like a little kitchen timer, like, hey, you only get to spend an hour messing around with the bass line, then you gotta move on. Like,
oh, you do it like
that? Oh yeah,
hey?
I do it. Yeah. I have to.
Yeah.
I spent 3 hours on a bass line the other day, and
because you can look at you can start at 7 and be like, shit, it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
And I've only like EQ'd a snare.
Yeah. So
yeah.
What was the easiest track and the hardest track that you've made? Would you say the most, or the one you're most happy with, or?
The easiest was Better on My Own. I'm the happiest with that. It's not out yet. Came along just so fast. Like I fell in love with the vocal. I knew I wanted a really bare breakdown, and then I found like a nice bouncy bass line, and there wasn't too much more to it. That's the fastest track I've ever written. And the most challenging, any of the early ones, because I just didn't know what I was doing or how, like when to call it done. I'm trying to think. Yeah, some of the early ones, like I tried to do this like melodic one. It's called Voices, and I was writing outside of like the tech house or house genre, so like I was just like picking cool sounds, and it kind of worked, but like they also weren't landing like where I wanted them to be like this like melodic driving track. So it kind of like sound design wise it was what it was. Yeah. And I didn't really know how to finish it, but then I just was like, you know what, it's done.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice, very nice.
Yeah.
So with regards to your newest track, when are we likely to see that being released?
The Better on My Own one?
Yeah, the Better on My Own.
Yeah, it's $1 million question. So there is a label that wants it.
Yep.
Confirmed, like told me to hold it, and they're taking forever. So whenever they decide to like actually send me a contract, and then like I'll know when the release date is.
Yeah. But
there were things that happened, so I sent them 2 tracks. So it was an EP, and they liked the B side, didn't like the A side, and then they're like, okay, make us another A side. But then I was traveling and in Croatia and stuff, and then now they're gonna put it out on a compilation. But because it's taking so long, I might have time to write them another A side and make an EP. So it's just like kind of a waiting game now.
Yeah.
So it's not. I don't have an official release date for that yet. Sometime in 2022. But I do have more coming out this month.
Are they a local label?
No.
How do you approach labels? Always intrigued of how they write that message, like, hey, I have a track. Like, how would you approach a label?
So I learned how to do that when I did the Cosmic Academy course, but I'd already kind of figured it out. So when I first started releasing music, it was on local labels, people that I knew. Pretty easy to be like, hey, I have a song, here you go. And it's pretty much the same process as you move up to bigger labels. It always helps to have like a direct connection. Either someone like sends a demo for you or introduces you or connects you like directly to like the label head or A&R. But I do like, just the typical email being like, hey, I love the music you've been putting out. I have something that might fit your catalog. Like, let me know what you think. And then like share your press kit or social media or like whatever so they can look you up. Yeah. And sometimes you hear back, sometimes you never do. But I think you got to start by hitting the smaller labels before you just send something to like Defected and hope you're going to get on. Like you need to be discovered. You need to have built a name for yourself on labels that a label like that would already be watching.
Yeah.
Because like I see some producers who've just written their first or second track and then they send it to all these massive labels and don't do it that way, you know, like
No, 'cause
wait.
You might not get nothing back and then think, oh, why do I even bother?
Yeah, and then, you know, you also don't want to be that person that sends them every single demo. Like, are you listening to what the label is currently putting out? Like, maybe they've changed their sound a little bit. Like, I just think you gotta get on these small labels and the medium labels, and maybe you get a good label and, like, you know, just work your way up.
Yeah, I mean, I asked the question because obviously people who will watch, you know, they obviously might be getting into producing or DJing, and some people just don't know what to do. And obviously, fair play to you, you've done really well from starting 4 years ago to where you are now. Is absolutely fantastic. So that's the reason why I asked for that advice. Because it might be helpful for other people.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, try and approach it with, like, common sense. Like, remember that, like, labels are signing you and it's business. Like, what can you bring to them? So you do have to have your brand down. You do have to have a good social media following. You do have to make music that's appropriate for them. The quality has to be there. Like, why would they invest in you if you don't show any, like, effort or work on all these other things? So yeah. So
what we planning to see in the future from Sivz?
Well, I have 3 tracks coming out this month. They're all so drastically different. One of them is like a happy daytime, like almost boat party vibes track called Solitude. Another one's called Stories. It's like a festival banger. It's really contrasting elements. I don't even know what genre it would be, but it's house music. Then I have that 7 a.m. remix coming out as well. It's really deep, slow, like minimal. Probably one of my favorite productions so far. And then that's about it for like 2021. Not many gigs happening as we await things in BC. But I think going into next year, I just want to be honing in on my sound a little bit more. I put out a track called Stay With Me on Monster Cat, and I think that was the most like...
Yeah, I've heard that.
I heard that.
Yeah, you heard that, did you?
I've got involved with that song, I quite like it.
Yeah, it did really well, and...
It's got a nice breakdown, like, well, so when the vocals go and it goes, and then the...
Stay With Me.
Yeah, and then it kicks in. It's a banger, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that's more of what I want to make. I've kind of been all over the place, and I think I want to make more tracks like that and be like, hey, like this is the Sivz sound, this is like where I want to go with it. Like, I know the labels I want to be on and like the labels I want to get to, and I just think I need to hustle hard on that and keep going on the music production, and hopefully in the new year gigs will come back and should have a good festival season.
I was actually going to ask that, like, about the labels actually, so you pretty much answered it anyway, but you know, obviously you like a few. You work with different ones. What are your favourite labels, though? Like, if you're going to throw that, obviously Defect is a pretty good label.
Yeah, Defect is great, yeah.
You've been to the festival.
Yeah. My number one is Repopulate Mars.
Yeah.
They have a sister label called South of Saturn that I'm trying to get on. And...
Again, they local?
No,
they're not. Okay.
US.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Miami, LA, I don't know, US. They're all actually US labels.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Monster Cat US then?
No, Monster Cat's actually based in Vancouver.
Yeah, I thought. I thought Monster Cat.
I thought it was.
they're a
So when you said
label.
like obviously it's most from America, I thought Monster Cat was here.
Yeah, no, they're
in Vancouver,
from
right?
here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What else? Black Book. That's Chris Lake's label. Trying to think. I don't know. There's lots of small, kind of attainable ones in my world that I think I can hit. I just gotta like crank out like 5 or 6 different tunes.
And what about for ones that you actually like listen to their style of music? What would be like some of your favorite labels?
Same ones.
The
same ones.
The
ones that I listen to are the ones I want to release on. So
makes sense, really.
Yeah,
right?
like I love Repopulate Mars. Like everything they put out, it's all tech house. Lots of like soulful vocals with like driving bass lines. Like John Summit is on it. Like lots of people I saw at Defected, and you know they'll put out a track that's like a dirty bumping. Like they have a remix or edit of My Humps, you know the one.
Yeah.
And it's so good. It's Lee Foss and Joshua, and it's called My Humps, and it's like, oh, it's filthy, you know. And then the next one they put out is a little more like dreamy and soft, and it's like, oh, this is good too. So
Cool.
yeah, that's the goal, I think.
Because Lee Foss is quite a quirky guy, Craig.
He is.
Yeah, he is.
And he's actually so nice. Like,
yeah, he's a cool dude.
He's not what I imagined he would be at all. Like, he looks hella intimidating and, like, serious. And then I did his course, because his label is Repopulate Mars, and he was one of the instructors. And I was like, well, he's so nice. He's actually, like, his look doesn't match his personality. Like,
No,
I didn't
he's
think.
a cool dude, yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, this got, like, because it's part of his crew is, like, Annabelle England.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
obviously Jamie Jones. And
Yeah.
it's a good little vibe.
Yeah.
With regards to your equipment, what equipment do you have that you DJ on at home? Like, what's your setup at home?
For producing, it's just my laptop.
And for DJing?
For DJing, I have two XDJ 1000s and like a 800 mixer DJM.
Okay, yeah.
So not the latest stuff, but like it'll do.
It's perfect.
You know, I love the XDJs because they're just like CDJs without the CD slot, and they're all like digital touchscreen, and I'm super comfortable on them. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Craig were talking about from vinyl to CDJs, and I think the 900s are like, you know, before the XDJs came out. I thought the 900s were the perfect thing. They take USB, CD. You still got the scrolling. You can still do that. And then the XDJs come out, which was just absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
Better
I love
screen.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love my
Way better.
XDJs. I'm actually really happy when I go to a party, like for Halloween, I went to a party and like the setup that the DJ had was XDJs, and I'm like, oh yeah, I almost prefer them to the 2000s because I'm just used to what I have at home.
Yeah.
And I've played on the 3000s before, and one time it went really well at Northern House Studios. And I was like, these are great. And then the second time was like for my Shambhala gig, and it was like I was having like issues hearing and like figuring out my monitor versus headphone situation. I'm like trying to get used to these 3000s, and in the middle of my set I was like, I'm sorry, can we switch to 2000s? It's just like too much for me to bear right now.
Oh, so yeah. So what? The 3000s, I haven't even played.
No, you haven't? Oh,
no,
they're and there's a new mixer out, the V10 or something that everyone's raving
the
about.
6-channel mixer.
I think.
Yeah, I'd like that.
I used it once. Northern House
would
too.
like it. But then Richie Horton's brought out one as well called the Model 1.
Okay.
That's apparently a really, really good mixer as well. But
it's rotary, isn't it?
No, not the Model 1.
No,
the one that's that was the Vestax one, wasn't it?
No, I thought his were.
No, who bought out the rotary one? Someone bought a rotary mixer.
Ian Pooley's got the Vestax.
Ian Pooley's got the one, yeah.
Yeah.
I've played on the Zone before, and I do not like it.
No.
I don't like
Is
it.
that the Alan Heath one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
don't
the
like.
Monkey
Sounds-
too?
I don't really.
Don't like.
No, I don't like Alan Heath. Everyone's
No,
gonna hate me for that now.
no,
but I'm
I
like,
don't. I had to show up for a gig opening for Latman, who was like one of my favorites, and I was like late that day for different reasons. I was like going into a gig just stressed out, and then I go like up to plug in my USB, and I'm like, what the hell is this? Like trying to figure out the mixer as I'm playing to like a full dance floor.
Yeah.
Like the effects I couldn't figure out, and they were cutting in and out, and I just was like, oh, this is a nightmare. and then when he came and I like met him, I was like, I've loved you my whole life, but right now I don't like you very much because of this mixer.
Yeah, let me have my space and just figure this out.
So we joke about it now. He's like, oh yeah, you hate me because of my mixer choice, huh? I'm like, yeah.
I've only played on one of them, and I didn't like it at all.
Right?
And the effects too. I was like, I just want to fucking like.
See, that's where the Pioneer's
I
better,
just want to
'cause
just use. I got Pioneer DJM 600, an older one, right?
Yeah.
Don't like the sound out of it myself.
Yeah.
I don't like. I for some reason I was playing with it. I've got Technics and my vinyl, right? I did have some other turntables before. I don't know what it was. I didn't find it deep enough. Right, and I did buy another mixer, an Italian one, in Mixars, and as soon as I plugged in, I was like, "Fuck me, there's the sound."
Yeah, yeah. You just know when it's like not doing it for you.
The Pioneer is a great mixer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't really like it.
I think,
Fair enough.
I still got it, but I don't like it.
It's the CDJ 200.
I should take that home with me. Yeah.
The right old classic there.
I've only ever played on the CDJs once, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had controllers in the past and stuff, but CDJs, I think I've only touched them once.
Have you ever played on these before?
I've played on 750s.
Yeah.
Maybe 300. Is there a 300 or a 350?
There's a 350. Isn't
There's
there
a 350.
It's a
I had
350.
Yeah,
350s.
It's a 350.
But I'm terrible at that. Like anything before like the 2000s or 1000s, like.
Have you ever had?
Because I'm not good on vinyl.
I was going to say, have you ever had a go on vinyl?
Yeah. I've tried. I struggle.
Yeah.
I'm like, am I even a DJ? I'm like a new age DJ.
There's this discussion goes out, and we've talked about it many a time. And there's a few big DJs that say the same thing. Doesn't really matter what you play on.
No.
Really.
You could play an Ableton set. Like.
Exactly. You could play an Ableton set. You could do whatever. It's about the music you're playing for the people on the dance floor at the time. But I do believe it is slightly different skill set.
Oh, totally.
When you do that.
Yeah.
Compared to that.
It's like driving manual versus automatic.
There you go.
I only know how to drive automatic.
Pretty much.
But you're still driving the car to...
Yeah.
But
if there's an emergency, I probably can't drive someone to the hospital on,
How do you find then... I mean, again, I've never played back-to-back with anyone with the CDJs, but if you got another DJ there with you and he's finishing his set, how are you coming in on the backside of his set? Probably all good.
Back-to-back or mixing into someone else's stuff,
Mixing into someone else's, like without
mixing
the break-in.
Usually fine. Like when you're first starting out, it's like so nerve-wracking. Usually when I start a set, the first 2 mixes are shit. They're not like, I'm still figuring out like
what's going on with what you got in front of you.
They're not good. And then I find my sweet spot and I'm fine. Mm-hmm. But I have been in situations where for whatever reason the DJ before me is playing like 130 plus BPM.
And you're just like, what the fuck?
I don't even know
what
dubstep you know?
Right.
Something ridiculous. And I've gotten really comfortable now with fading it out and starting fresh.
Yeah.
And even saying on the mic, give it up for whoever.
Yeah.
And like not dealing with the anxiety of that situation. Just being like, you know what? This ain't gonna work for me. And like touring DJs do it all the time. They do it to me when I'm like playing. They're like, oh, actually I have an intro, or actually like finish where you want to finish. So I'm like, okay, yeah, like there's no shame in like stopping the music for like a second.
Absolutely.
It's fine. If it's not working, it's not working.
I've done in the past when I've done a really shitty mix in a club where I'll just drop everything.
Yeah.
Really sorry. And slam it back up. Right?
Yeah.
And again, we do like one mix each.
Yeah.
Be 4 of us, and you go, okay, 1 record each.
Oh yeah.
So you don't know
back to back.
You don't know what anyone's going to play,
yeah.
and you try and make it as hard as possible for each other. Right.
Yeah.
So you're going through your box, just going, oh yeah, I'm going to pick up fucking doozy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun with friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So every now and again, you just have to go boo, and turn, and just like, I'm in.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll do for that mix.
That'll
do for that mix.
Deal, yeah.
Right.
Have you done many back-to-back sort of sessions?
I have, yeah, but I don't love doing them. Like I like doing everything on my own. Like I live alone, I produce alone, like I like to play alone. If there's ever an option B2B or like alone, I'm like, no, I want to do it alone. Now it's like a new term of mine too, when like people go chat to my agent, I'm like, tell them I don't do B2Bs anymore unless it's like, you know, like a house party or something. But like for a set, if I'm opening up for someone, I usually have an idea of like what I want to do with my set. It's like a concept. It's like like I want to go in this direction.
You want to take on that journey.
Yeah, right? It's frustrating sometimes when you're going somewhere and then like whoever you're B2Bing with like goes somewhere else. I'm like, oh, it's not really what I would have done. But I do have good chemistry on the decks with some friends of mine. Like a friend of mine, Oki, is like probably one of the most talented like DJs that I know, and he can play everything. He can play like funky, minimal, like Mark Farina type stuff. He can play like filthy techno, and he's a chameleon. He can do it all, and I can do that too. So when we play together, like we played a techno set at a bush rave over the summer, and it was a techno set, and we didn't screw up once, and we just like fed off each other, and like he played a certain style of techno, and I played my techno, and it was really great. But it's rare. It's rare that I'm able to vibe with someone so much. Like I just prefer to do my own thing. Yeah.
We'll definitely promote your stuff for sure.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks very much.
That's it.
Thank you. Alrighty. Boom.